Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whoever you are, wherever you may be. You've just stumbled upon a corner of the internet unlike any other, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Business Funding Nation, the no nonsense, unfiltered source of financial wisdom in the podcast world for you, business owners and aspiring loan brokers alike. This is where we cut through the noise, we get real about business financing and equip you with the knowledge and the strategies that you need to conquer the financial game. Maybe have a laugh or two along the way. But before we actually get started going over today's topics, quick disclaimer, folks. We are not your lawyers. We're not accountants. We're not CPAs. For all you know, we're just a couple of knuckleheads with mics spilling the beans on the what the school of hard knocks has taught us about money and business. So remember, take our words as friendly advice, not gospel. Always get your information double checked by the pros. Viewer discretion is advised, but if you're anything like me and you like to discredit these advisory messages, want to let you know we are here for those that are hungry for knowledge, those that are ready to take on the lessons that we've learned from our own face plants and victories in the world of business financing and make it their own. We may not be certified experts, but we have been through the ringer a couple of times and
Yep.
we've come out wiser on the back end because of them. So, with that, viewer aggression is also advised. So, let's get this show on the road. Mr. Keenan Steele, how are you doing this fine day, sir?
Hey, what's going on, Jose? I'm doing good. How about yourself? It's been a long time since we've talked, like a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's been a rough, very long, agonizing 2 minutes, man. It feels it every second without you in my ear feels like an eternity.
I know my wife's like, "Are you talking to your best friend Josie?" I don't know why she calls you that, but she's like, "Is that Josie you're talking to?" I'm like,
It
"Maybe."
the fact that I have a pet name, it makes me closer to the heart, so I'll take it.
Oh, hey, before we get started, Jose, I want to give a big, quick shout out to Oz Konar and the Business Lending Blueprint, the training that has allowed us to become loan brokers, actually started our careers. Hey, if anybody's listening to this podcast, you're tired of your 9 to 5, you need a change, or you're looking for an opportunity to help business owners get access to funding, then you need to visit our website. It's businessfundingnation.com. You want to scroll down to the bottom and then click on where it says learn about the BLB here so you can explore the benefits of being a business loan broker. All right, so to kick this episode off, we're going to talk shop for a few minutes and then we're going to jump into equipment financing. So Jose, what has been going on? You've had some pretty exciting announcement in the real estate market. Would you like to share that?
Yeah, why not, man? Within BDA Solutions, we're the reason that I love working with Keenan is that he your attitude is a perfect complement to where I'm at. Some areas where I'm super aggressive, you're the anchor of reason, and then so other situations it's the complete opposite.
Definitely flip-flops,
Yeah,
definitely.
I have been in the real estate world for several years now. And so my network is a little wider there. And we just signed up with a lender that will allow us to offer financing to our real estate investor clients. And there's a portion, there's a area there where depending on the deal, if the numbers make sense, we can roll the interest payments of the investor into the loan. So that
Awesome.
way they don't have to worry about making these monthly payments. It frees up cash flow. It allows them to focus on the project, pick up the hammer, knocking the thing out, collecting their profit, moving on to the next one.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it really good news after a very tough week otherwise in the finance world. So we're picking
Awesome.
up the scraps and moving forward because there's only one way to go.
That's it, guys, and this business is tough. I'm telling you right now, there's I know last week was tough for you and I, Jose, like, we're just
Yep.
like about ready to just quit. But like you said, it's you get beat down, then new products come out, or you might get a pre-approval, or all of a sudden you open up your email and you have four new leads to call. So it's just the world of sales. And so last episode, guys, we talked about real estate, really did a big deep dive into it, and we're going to touch equipment financing today. That's what I just really enjoy, equipment financing. I grew up ranching, farming, down here in Dallas, Texas. So I'm around it all the time. I used to also have a highway mowing business. We would go out and mow the big tractors and the mowers on the side of the highways. So like I said, I just know equipment. Jose knows real estate. That's why we are a good Poncho and Lefty team. The Lone Ranger and Tonto. That's just us. So, but it's funny too because there's a lot of things that I want to know about real estate. And he wants to know about equipment financing. Can BDA Solutions do equipment and working capital? Absolutely. So they can even do real estate, which I don't do real estate. I submit them all over to Jose. So, that being said, before we move in to the equipment financing segment, I want to thank our sponsor, BDA Solutions. If your business is struggling because of lack of capital, or you're wanting to fund a real estate project, reach out to BDA Solutions for a free business consulting call. These guys can help with cash flow management, business credit, and so many other options when it comes to equipment financing, working capital, and real estate. Okay. Jose, let's um let's talk about some of the different options that we have for equipment financing. Okay. So if you're a business owner, you're out here, you're listening to us, or you're a loan broker, you're like, man, these guys, I like their podcast. I want to know more about equipment financing. The reason that I like it is because it's something different. It's something. It's a niche. Okay, a lot of business loan brokers just want to offer a merchant cash advance, or they want to offer 0% lines of credit, which we offer those too. But that's all that they want to offer. And so when you start really niching down into equipment financing, it's a little bit different of a beast. It takes a little bit longer sometimes to do. It could be anywhere from 72 hours up to 2 weeks. Depends if you're doing a titled piece of equipment, meaning something that's on a road, like a semi truck, semi trailer, or if you're doing untitled, which could be construction equipment, could be dental equipment, medical equipment, restaurant equipment. So that's kind of a lot of things that people don't know about. And so we have so many different options for equipment financing. So, Jose, do you want to touch on a couple of those that we have?
So there are, again, the area, the level of expertise is definitely in Keenan's court. However, there are a couple of programs that I love talking to business owners about. And Keenan is absolutely right. For the brokers that are watching, if you don't have a niche, and by niche is what I'm referring to is you have a specific client that you can go out and you can help. The MCAs definitely have their spot. They can help
Mhm.
business owners that are in maybe a tough spot where they just need cash quickly. They don't have the time to sit and wait for underwriting. So that's the level of service that you have to your client. Offering equipment financing
Mhm.
is another just added level of being able to serve your client. One of my favorite programs that we have to offer is the story lending.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Story lending is one that is very unique because it's almost a real life opportunity like Shark Tank, you know what I mean? Where people can go in and give their story and
Mhm.
almost make this pitch as to why do I need this funding? Why could I, or how is this equipment going to help improve my business? And the beautiful thing about it, in Shark Tank, if you make a deal, you'll get the capital that you need. That's awesome. That's great, but guess what you're losing? You're losing equity. You're giving up a
Mhm.
sometimes humongous portion of your future profits in exchange for this one-time transaction.
Correct.
Our story lender, however, is not even close to that. What they actually do is listen to you, take a look at not just the collateral and the equipment.
Mhm.
They'll take a look at your story overall. They'll take a look at your business and take some of those uh maybe unforeseen factors into consideration that most lenders will not take a look at because all they want to see is numbers. They want to see credit scores, they want to see revenue, they want to see projections. This is a completely different take without the loss of equity. So that's one of my favorite programs.
Yeah, and so guys, you got to remember too, we can fund equipment for farmers, for people that don't have a if they're wanting to start up a business. It doesn't have to be you don't have to have an LLC or an incorporation to fund equipment. You do have to have a business or you have to be a farmer. Or you have to say, hey, look, I'm interested in doing this, and you have to have some kind of income to be able to pay for those payments. And that's how I started. I was a firefighter, started tractor mowing because I grew up doing it, and started part time, and then it just grew into a 7 figure business. And so that's why we see a lot of our these equipment financing lenders. They make their guidelines like that. So sometimes, most every time in working capital, you have to have an LLC or incorporation. That means if you want money in your pocket, you have to be a legit business. We're actually about to finance an excavator for a guy today that's a sole proprietorship. Okay, so he hangs overhead doors like that goes into big shops, for like auto bays, stuff like that, and they use a little mini excavator to hold the door up while they bolt it in and get it all installed. And so, this is kind of he's East Texas backwoods person, really nice gentleman, but he's like, I don't need a LLC. I've been operating as a sole proprietor for 20 years. Said, "No problem. Let's see your bank statements." He had it, and we got him approved. So,
Now, let me ask you a question real there. Since this is your level of expertise in my world, in the real estate world, if you don't have an LLC, there's no deal. There's nothing else to discuss. You were able to get the deal done regardless of him being in a sole proprietorship. But did that make the underwriting more cumbersome? Was it more complicated to get it approved? Were there extra steps he had to take because he doesn't have an LLC?
yeah. So if you don't have an LLC, you have to either show your Schedule C tax returns that shows that you're a sole proprietor, or you have to show your Schedule F that you're a farmer. So it was funny you said that. 2 weeks ago, we funded an excavator for a guy with a Schedule F. He was a farmer. And then the Schedule C, the lender had come back on the stipulations and said, we'll fund this if he can show his Schedule C for 4 years ago. So that way it shows that they've been doing business for that long.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now, and as for startups, excuse me, it's a little different. You have to show that you have W-2 income, and you also have to come to the lender with a business plan for you to be able to fund startups for
Nice.
equipment.
Okay.
But
All
you don't have
right.
to have an LLC. I funded people with a personal bank account, stuff like that. But they have to have a purpose for this machine. If I live in an apartment, I can't just go buy a bulldozer because I want one. You know what I mean? You got to have a purpose for it.
Got it. Got it.
So,
Got it. Now, what about as a broker? I take a look at ROI. How does ROI come into play when you are looking at an equipment financing deal?
what's huge? It's like, I tell everybody, I don't care what your payment is. Let's not talk about payment. Tell me what this piece of equipment is going to bring you in monthly revenue. Is it going to bring you 10,000, 15,000, 20,000? What is it going to bring to you that brings you value? If you're going to buy a bulldozer and it's going to only bring $5,000 a month to you, then no, we're not going to go forward with that because it's not enough value to your business. Okay. If I'm buying a hot shot trailer, these guys that run these hot shots up and down, hauling equipment, hauling different loads, not a semi truck, but the, pickup truck with a long trailer.
Yep.
If he's going to make, if that trailer is going to make him $20,000 a month, then that's worth it. You know what I mean? So we talk about return on investment first. What is this going to bring you? What do you think it's going to do? Because then it's not worth going through the process to know that, hey, you only think this is going to bring you $7,500 a month, but your payment's going to be 3 grand. Okay. We don't, equipment lenders are not looking for that. You don't have to be making just over the top money to get approved for equipment, but you have to be able to show that it's going to bring in a significant return on investment per day for your equipment. So a lot of times, people that come to us with challenge credit, 620, 630 or less, they've got to have 30 or 40% to put down. And then they will also want to know, what is this piece of machine going to bring you per day? Okay. And then you can start justifying the payment. These machines that we finance depends on, like this excavator that we're about to do is the guy doesn't have the best credit. He's hovering right around a 600. We got him in the machine for $1,800 a month, and it's for 60 months. Okay, a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, that's so much money." But really what it is, this is actually a lease. So what he'll do is after the 60 months, he can either return the machine or pay on the balloon payment at the end of it or refinance it, okay? And so when I talk to people, Jose, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you going to do with this machine? First of all, what's it going to bring you? And then what do you want to do after? Do you want to keep this machine after you pay on it? Do you want to trade it in 3 years? Do you want to get a new piece of machinery? Do you want to report this on your taxes? Do you not want to report this on your taxes? So there's multiple different leasing products and loan products that we have for equipment financing. But the first thing is figure out what's the machine for, what's the return on the investment going to be, how much can you make per day, and then what are you going to be able to do at the end of the day. Um, with this machine? What do you want to do? Do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to trade it in or do you want to keep it?
Got it. Now, yeah, have you ever come across a business owner that they come to you with an application, they're eyeing a particular piece of equipment, and they're only eyeing it because they were just awarded a contract and they have absolutely no idea how to project that ROI beyond this one deal, this one contract that they're trying to get into?
Not normally. Most people know when they're shopping around what they're going to do with it and what they want. Now go back to the storyteller that you had. So the storytelling program that we have is for people that have experience, that have been running this type of equipment for years. Probably have been working for another contractor or another construction company. They have a crew. They formed a crew. They formed business. They know they've already have contracts they're ready to go get. They've got money to put down on the machine. They can show that they worked for, ABC construction company for so many years, being a bulldozer operator or a directional driller. They can show the experience. And so this is where the story lender comes in. You don't even have to have a FICO score to get funded for this. You basically put down a deposit. You speak with the interview with the lender. You have an interview with the lender. And then if they accept it, that $500 goes towards down payment. If they don't, you get your $500 back. But this is a way, to get a contractor into a program. So examples of what kind of customers this product works for. Let's say that you have a contractor making $25,000 a month who could make $75,000 a month if he had this $100,000 excavator. And the lender would want to be able to see that on paper. Can you make this money for us to be able to get to that? You don't have a FICO score. You might have a 550 credit score or whatever it may be. And then a lot of it's for a startup, like I explained earlier, a startup company with a lot of experience in the field, active contracts that are ready to be pulled. Like to say, for instance, a directional driller that can run a crew for someone else for years. It has been running a crew for someone else for years. He has contracts ready to work. He just needs the drill or the machine.
Nice. Okay.
Um,
Now going back to that the example, that last approval that you just got with the credit guy hovering right around 600,
mhm.
you were able to get him approved at, what was it, 1800 down?
1800 a month. It was 10,000
1800 a month,
down.
10,000
Yes,
down. Okay.
yes. So they wanted 15% down plus a first month's payment. Okay. So then that would mean he would have to make 59 payments at $1,800 a month.
Got it. Now, if I was that business owner, you got me approved. Awesome, Keenan. Great job. Is this going to show up on my credit to help increase my damage credit score?
Yes and no. It just depends on which financing product and which lender. So the way that this deal was structured is the lender will still own the equipment. So basically, it's kind of a rent to own. So this would be like if you went to a rental company and you signed a long contract and said, "Hey, I want to be able to rent this equipment from you for 5 years." And then at the end of these 5 years, this guy is going to give this equipment back and get something new. Or he can pay out what they call a balloon payment or a fair market value payment, meaning, let's say that in the contract, the lenders has put in there that he has to pay the 10% of the fair market value at the end. So, meaning if he wants to keep this machine and it's done after 5 years of this payment, then he'll pay 10% of what he financed it for. So he's financed it for 58,000 and some change. At the end, he'll have to either pay 5,800 or turn the machine back in. This
And he
isn't
has the option. If he
He has the
decides
option.
to turn it back in, it doesn't damage his credit, it doesn't hurt his
Mm-mm.
profile in any way, right?
Nope, correct. Nope. That's after 60 months. If he wants a new machine, he can turn it in and he can even before then, if he wants to trade this machine in, he can do that as well. There's no or pay it off. There's no prepayment penalty on there.
Okay, cool. No, that sounds like a sweet deal. If a if a business owner comes to you and there is this I don't want to say it's an objection, but it's a concern maybe that he's taking on too much debt with this piece of equipment.
Mhm.
Mhm. Is your consultation to him surrounded around the ROI conversation that you guys had? Or
Absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely. Because it's like, look, you come back at $1,800. It's like, man, that's expensive. Well, sure, Jose, that $1,800. But when we first started talking, Jose, you told me that this excavator is going to make you 15,000 a month. So who cares about an $1,800 payment? Would you not pay me $1,800 every month if I could give you 15,000 in return? Well,
absolutely.
that's a no-brainer. And that's
But I
what
wanna keep
people
all 18,000 though.
well, I mean, it is what it is. 15,000. No, yeah. So a lot of people get in there about interest rates. Look, people come to me all the time. I want 0%. Caterpillar and John Deere has offered me 0%. I'm like, great, go with them. That's a good deal. And then when they come crawling back, it's because, oh, well, did you know that really it's not 0%. It's 6.25% that they're going
Right.
to charge you. Plus they're going to upsell you on all these fees and all this other stuff. So when I tell people, look, no hidden fees out the door, we get you at, 10%, 12% rate, they just fall over. And then when they come back and they know that, oh, well, John Deere's going to only give me 0% for 36 months and my payments are outrageous. It makes a little bit more sense because they don't know that. They go there, they say, oh, we'll get it pre-approved. And then there's all these stipulations that now they can't get the 0%. Now John Deere's going to get them in there at 20% because their credit wasn't as good. Well, we don't do that. We just say, look, here's what we're looking for to see what we can get you pre-approved for, what you qualify for. But there's no smoke and mirrors with us. We don't do that. Do we have rates that start at 6.99? Yes, but I don't tell people that. It's not about rate, it's about return on investment. Okay. I know people that'll pay, half of, I would say, three-quarters of America has credit card debt at 29.99%.
Yep,
Thousands,
absolutely.
several thousands of dollars a month. And then they balk a little bit when it's like the rate's not going to be 0%. No, the rate's not going to be 0%. Okay. I know people that take uh, equipment financing rates at 20% because that's all they qualify for, and they don't care about the payment because they're making 20 and $30,000 more a month on this piece of machine. But there's people that go out there and spend $20,000 on credit cards to go to the movies, out to eat, buy stupid shoes. I mean, that's just part of the problem. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole,
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, no, I get it. I know
we're
exactly what you're going down.
yeah,
But see, that's I think one of the differences between what we are trying to do and what traditional or I guess the lender, the brokers that have been around and are just trying to shove
yeah,
whatever it is that a client may not even need, but they're pushing things for their benefit, their favor. They're not taking the time to talk to them about ROI and
correct.
realize that, hey, there is an end date to the commitment that the financing commitment that you are getting into with this lender,
Mhm.
but the return on the investment, not only while you're in the loan, but even after the loan is an increase. It's a volume of business revenue that you would not see otherwise.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, look, take this machine, do what you need to, make some money, put some money back, and then at the end of the day, turn the thing back in and let's get you another machine. I mean, we can go down to 36 months if you want to, but then your payment's going to be $3,000. I mean, what do you
Right,
want to
right,
do? Would you
right,
rather
right.
have 60 months, 1800, or 36 months at 3 grand? Okay. What if business gets tight and you can't make that $3,000 payment every month? It's like, look, take the longer term. Here's what it's going to be, and go for that. Another program I like, Jose, that we have is 12 months of no payments on all construction equipment.
Yeah, I
That's
was
right.
just
You
about
heard
to
me right.
ask you. I follow you on, obviously we follow each other on social media. You've been going heavy on this one. What are
I
the details
really,
behind that?
I really, really, really like this program. Okay. It's for 48 months program. If you make 36 consecutive monthly payments, it gets erased. The lender erases the last 12 months of it. This says forgiven. And that's huge for people with bad credit. Okay. It even works with people with good credit. Okay. Usually the down payment ranges between 10 to 20%. Most of the time, it's going to be 20% if you don't have the best credit. Now, if you have credit over 700, it's even better because then you can only get in it for 10%. And after 36 consecutive months, they forgive the loan, and it's for construction equipment. So what we call yellow iron, bulldozers, excavators, skid steers, backhoes, graders, and it goes up to a $300,000 cap. So
Wow.
you
So
you
go ahead.
no, you can buy a piece of equipment, $300,000, and then you can have the last 12 months of the loan payment forgiven.
So if I come to you and I have a 550 credit score,
Mhm.
but I have a business and I've got money in the bank because of what I've been able to do in the past, I've got the 20%. You can get me into yellow iron. 48 months is written on the note, but I only
Mhm.
have to make 36 payments.
That is correct.
That
Yep.
is
And it's
that
and the loan's forgiven.
okay. I
There's
mean,
I mean, and there's some other stipulations too. I mean, I don't like I said, if you don't qualify for one of our loan products, we have other loan products to put you in. So that's what there's a lot of like people say, you always say with approved credit. So I'll just tell you how this works. So let's say that a borrower comes to us and they want to borrow, they want to take $70,000 out for a loan for an excavator. Within the loan, you have to be making 50% of the revenue for the last 3 months. So for October, November, December, because you're not into February yet. So October, November, December, you need to be making, and you want to take a $70,000 out, you need to be making at least $35,000 a month for those 3 months consecutive and for January. Okay. So always tell people, I'm like, if you got cash, go deposit it before the end of the month is up, so you can show that you're making this consistent revenue of $35,000 a month for the last 3 months, and then you qualify for this program. There is no minimum FICO score, so as long as you have the monthly revenue and the 20% down payment, you can get into a piece of machinery for 36 months. Now, if you have a 700 credit score or higher, you can get in there and only put down 10% instead of 20.
and because you're working with me, I've got the lower credit score, I've got the revenue, I qualify. Does that, because of my credit, does that make the application process more complicated than someone with the 700 credit score?
No, our application process is really simple. So you see so many loans out there right now that say application only, no docs, no documents. That's what that means, and it's BS. For you to get a loan started, you need an application, business bank statements, usually 3 months worth. You need an ID. You need a voided check. You need for us for equipment. You need uh, an equipment finance agreement or like an invoice, and then you need a credit report, and that's it. It's really simple. And then if you own a business, then we either need your business LLC, articles of incorporation. If you don't own a business but you're a farmer, we need a Schedule F. And then if you are a DBA doing business as, like this gentleman we've been talking about, you need a
Mhm.
Schedule C, and that's it.
And how long does it take to actually get that equipment in my hands where I'm either driving off with it or actually using it? How long does that take?
Since it's yellow iron, which means construction, and I just want to kind of go over this real quick. It takes 72 hours most of the time. If you get us everything we need, some lenders require GPS unit to be installed, some don't. But to cover what yellow iron is excavators, bulldozers, backhoes, wheel loaders, motor graders with a big blade, skid steers, the big off-road dump trucks that you see being loaded, um, crawler loaders. They look like a bulldozer, but they can actually have a bucket that lifts up and dumps the dirt. Compactors, and then cranes. Actually, we actually have cranes that fall into that. Good luck finding a crane for under 300,000. But that's what's considered to be this in this program.
Awesome. Before we move on, a quick word from our favorite sponsors, Pro Business Funding. They stand as a trusted partner for business owners. They provide streamlined access to working capital and equipment financing solutions. They specialize in empowering businesses with the financial resources needed to thrive and expand. Their commitment to flexible financing options makes them the go to source for businesses seeking to fuel their growth and operational success. So feel free to check them out. Pro Business Funding. They are second to none in the alternative finance space. So,
I appreciate that, Jose. I wish you would memorize that so you didn't have to sound like you're reading it, but we can
hey,
work on
hey,
that. Goals, goals.
listen, bro. When you are as shifty with your words and what you want to say, this is probably like the third time you've changed that on me. So I would rather make sure that I'm delivering to your standards and then I'll work on polishing the delivery on it later.
I like it. I like it. Perfect. So yeah, guys, like I said, man, it's equipment financing. You can make good money on it. We are pro business funding is actually changing. We're also going to start equipping. Sorry, we're not. We're also going to start offering equipment brokering. So that means that we can sell equipment for you, and then we can also finance your new equipment. So you kind of have to change it up. Jose, it's one of those things. We've been in the equipment space for a while, and we don't only just fund construction equipment. We can fund medical equipment. We can fund restaurant equipment. We can fund manufacturing equipment. We can even fund dreaded semi trucks. Okay. And people are always like, oh, semi trucks. Yeah. Semi trucks are tough because they're titled. Okay. So that means it takes longer. Usually I can fund equipment 72 hours that doesn't have a title, meaning it doesn't go on the road. If it has a title like a semi truck, it can be up to 2 weeks. And what people don't understand is you got to have a down payment for insurance. You're going to have to pay the taxes on it, and you have to have the down payment for the equipment. Okay. On equipment financing, most of the time, you just have to have the down payment to get in that machine and go.
Yeah, and listen, guys, I know Keenan and I are always giving each other shit about, how we do things or what have you, but one of the reasons why Keenan is talking to me about how I'm reading his ad. This guy is actually in tune to the market and he's listening to what's going on, not only for his clients, but also his vendors. So even though I'm giving him shit about him constantly changing what he wants to for his company to say, it's because he's pivoting. It's because he's adapting to the market. It's because he's listening to market reports and things of that nature.
Yep.
And if you're ever working with someone who just is like one lane, blinders on and heading in one direction, eventually they're going to come up against a wall and they're not going to be able to move because they just buried themselves in a corner. So
Yep, and that happened to guys with the merchant cash advance or the
exactly.
MCA space. Okay, these
Yep.
guys, you'll hear us talk about merchant cash advance. These guys, this industry was made from the mob, and it's ruthless. Now, do we offer MCA? Sure, but that's a lot of times that's the only thing people qualify. And that's another thing I love about equipment financing is when you come to us, if it's BDA Solutions, Pro Business Funding. We can not only offer you equipment financing, we can also offer you working capital. We can also offer you personal loan, business term loan, business line of credit. You go finance through Kubota, Caterpillar. They're going to give you the smoke and mirrors show. They're going to give you the, oh, we're going to get you 0%. It comes out to be 22.2%. And they're not going to offer you money for marketing, money for fuel cost, money to make payroll this week or anything like that. We have the ability to cross sell multiple products to you if it's equipment financing or working capital. Okay. So that's another thing. I'm tongue tied. The last one I want to touch base with, Jose, is the program for non US permanent residents.
What
Um,
is that about? And why are you talking to
this
me about that?
Well, I mean, if you guys don't know the story, I had to go renew my driver's license the other day. Okay. If you can tell by the way I talk, obviously I'm a US citizen. I was born in Oklahoma. Don't hold that against me, but I got to Texas quick. I went to the driver's license place 4 times to get my driver's license renewed. I didn't realize it wasn't renewed. So we went to get signed up with a new lender. And my back office guy said, "Hey, man, your driver's license expired. The lender won't allow us to sign up." I was like, "Well, shit. Okay." So I drive the next morning. I go over to the uh, driver's license place to get my driver's license. There was, I don't know, I was number 8 in line that morning. They only took 6 people. So I said, "Okay, I'll be back." I got there about 30 minutes early. So, anyways, make a long story short, it took me 4 times to get to into the DMV. I even got there one morning at 5:30. But what the main purpose of the story is Texas, you cannot get a driver's license unless you even if you've had a driver's license. I've had a driver's license for 22 years. I'm 40 years old. I've had a driver's license. I've got a class A driver's license, CDL. Have had it. I was a fireman. I mean, they saw all my records, but they're like, we can't issue this unless we have a copy of your birth certificate to prove that you're a US citizen. And I'm just like, oh, this is so frustrating. So make a long story short, now that and a lot of people fall into this category. So you can become a non-permanent US resident. You can get a ITIN card, and you're allowed to build credit with it. But what happened is a lot of lenders wouldn't lend to those people. So now we can get people to approved. It's a little bit stricter of a down payment and the rates, not the rates, but the purchasing amount needs to be higher. So for instance, for this program, this works for U.S. permanent residents as well. But if you're not a U.S. permanent resident, listen to this: the minimum funding amount's $100,000. It could be for semi truck, it could be for semi trailer. You can do a combination of both. So if you have an $80,000 semi, $20,000 semi truck, you can put those together. We can finance that, and you can even do dump trucks, day cab trucks, heavy equipment needs to be 8 years or newer. Most of the semi trucks need to be 2000. And 21 and newer. But this thing really helps out, Jose, because if you don't have a credit score or you don't have any of that, but you've got cash, a lot of the immigrants that are coming across, that are coming into the United States that we're seeing have a lot of cash. And so this lender said, we want to be able to finance everybody, but you're going to have 40% to put down. And so that's the biggest kicker that we see is people have 20%, 20 grand, 30 grand. But when it comes to putting down 40,000, that's a lot of money. But if you do have that, we can get you into either a semi truck or a yellow piece of iron construction equipment.
And not to deviate too much from the topic at hand, but I don't think we stop there. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Our lender on the personal and business credit side can also service the I-10 if they have the established credit there. He can go out and get them financing there also. So we
Correct.
don't just stop at the equipment. We're here to try to help people as much as we can.
Yeah, so you get so much more service with a loan broker than you do with going to Wells Fargo, going to John Deere, going to your credit union, whatever it may be. Even on this, for them to finance a semi truck through our traditional lenders that require 10 to 20% down, you got to have so many years of CDL experience. This lender doesn't even require you to have CDL experience, and we can turn these around. We can get you a pre-approval in 4 hours.
There you go. And just to add, it's not just any loan broker, just those of us that have enough common sense to know our client and know what our client's demands are.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why when you call us, you say, "Hey, Keenan, hey, Jose, I see you guys posting stuff on the Facebook." We're not going to just say, "What piece of equipment do you need?" We're also going to say, "Do you need working capital? Do you need personal loan?" And then we have the what we call the credit box people guys to where we know what you fit into. Hey, Keenan, I've got a 780. Great. I got a lot of products I can offer you. And it's not more commission. Usually, what you'll see is people with the better credit score, the lower commissions that we make. But we're not doing that for commission. We're doing it to make a relationship with the business owner for the short term, for the midterm, and for the long term of this relationship. And if you can get a guy, an excavator and then another $20,000 on top of that, a personal loan or working capital that he can put in his bank account and he can use that for marketing, payroll, hire new employees, do whatever they need to. Man, that's awesome. That's a win in my book.
Absolutely. It's a win in everybody's book. And that's the important part. That's where we're, trying to kind of change the approach overall in the industry is because most brokers are out there looking for a W for them.
Yes.
And then they forget about the lender, they forget about the vendor, and they forget about the client.
Yep.
We're in it for everybody.
Yep, exactly. So, man, like I said, the equipment financing space is huge. We don't have It doesn't have to be trucks, trailers. We finance welders, generators. We can finance signs that go. We can finance an entire restaurant full of equipment. We can finance the signs that go on top of the roofs, out by the highways. I mean, we can do desk, computers. I mean, there's if it's equipment, we can finance it. Okay. I don't even We can even do cannabis equipment. So if we actually have had a couple of inquiries lately about cannabis companies looking to purchase new equipment, for the showcases, for the dispensary. I've only been to one dispensary in Las Vegas, and I blew my mind because I didn't even know what it smelled so bad in there, Jose. I'm like, no, I'm out of this. But yeah, we can even do that, guys. So we can. If you're a business owner, you're looking to get equipment financing, doesn't matter what it is, we can handle it. If you're looking for working capital, lines of credit, 0% lines of credit, term loans, Jose and I can handle you, and also real estate for sure.
Absolutely. So to get to let's tie a bow on this thing.
Let's do it.
Takeaway, guys. There from a broker's perspective, common sense. Know your client. Let's take well, those of us that are part of the business funding nation. What we like to do is we try to get our referral partners to speak differently.
Mhm.
I mean, there's absolutely we're not trying to cover up anything. Business loan brokers have a bad reputation. But instead of playing into that, we're using that to our advantage. We're training, we're learning, we're taking on different tasks so that we speak different, we act different, we believe different. So
Mhm.
that way we stick out to our clients, to our leads, and those of you that may be stuck in old habits and trying to shove products and sell people on products instead of servicing them, it might be word to the wise that it might be time for a change there because you're just adding on to the bad reputation. You're not changing the culture.
Yep, you gotta change the culture, especially you gotta build a relationship and be a consultant to your customer, that is for sure. So, hey, so if you wanna work with us, loan brokers, that have a different approach in alternative lending space, then please go down to businessfundingnation.com and fill out the form that says "Seeking Funding." One of us will reach out to you. I wanna give a big shout out to our nation's veterans, and also first responders and say thank you for what you do. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And business owners that you may also be in need of building business credit. Reach out to us also where we're here to help move your business forward. And rest assured, we don't charge any upfront fees, and
Mm-mm.
we're actually looking to establish long-term relationships with you, not these transactional partnerships that seem to be common nowadays. So
And you got to remember too, guys, everything we do is a soft credit pull. Okay. Till we go to funding, till you
absolutely.
say, Keen and Jose, let's pull the hammer on it, then it's all soft credit pulls. So
Awesome. Thank you. So, everyone, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Business Funding Nation. We hope you found it informative. We hope you had a laugh or two along with us. Please don't forget, do what you guys do. Subscribe, leave us a review, share our podcast with your family and your friends. If you have any suggestions on future topics, please leave us a comment below. Remember, in the Business Funding Nation, we play hard, we laugh hard, we learn even harder. Thanks again for joining us. Become a part of the community at businessfundingnation.com. Start today, grow tomorrow. Talk to you guys soon. Business Funding Nation out.
Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.